Hey, it's Romy, Cancer. Welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is your June 2021 soul story. And for those of you that are June born, happy solar returns. If you've got sun rising or your moon is in the sign, my soul story might just give you a little bit of heads up and help you to navigate some of these energies. And it's going to be a really busy astrological time energetically. We're still in eclipse season. And of course, we're closing out the Gemini and Sagittarius North and South node with a new moon solar eclipse on the 10th of the month. And Gemini energy is about 12th house for you. So there's this innate sense of needing to release, coming to terms with aspects of your life where there is now closure and allowing that healing to enable you to move forward. One of the themes that was coming through for me really poignantly as I was just tuning into Cancer energy is this idea for June that we really want you to figure out who you are, Cancer, so that the world doesn't try to tell you. And I think that there is this firm focus as we open up with the guide of the Chariot for you, which of course links into your sign, that is emerging through this month. And of course, we know these eclipses kind of bring about powerful changes in our life, and they force us to kind of come to terms and to acknowledge things about ourselves and the way we've been living. And I have this sense of you just wanting to start to rewrite things on your terms, to rewrite the rules, really to be like your own fairy tale, and it may be in the acknowledgement of some less than desirable situations, experiences, or revelations that you're kind of coming to the cold, hard reality or truth about something. But at the same time, there's this gorgeous sense of you kind of freeing yourself from having to manage other people's reactions and responses to you. And I suppose the question in that is going to be on a daily basis of really what's being asked of me in this moment. What's being asked of me from others? What's being asked of me by myself, by my higher self, by spirit and the universe? And in that is this understanding of what feels manipulative, what feels provocative, what feels out of alignment. And in that knowledge and awareness, you are just kind of gathering up the impetus and the sense of kind of endurance, but also the courage and the readiness to say, okay, enough is enough. And just starting to honor yourself with this desire to be much more intentional, so that you're not having these kind of blind responses to life. Now, Venus is moving into your sign from the 2nd of the month, so you're going to feel really at home here in terms of how that expression of Venusian energy is going to be showing up both in relationships, but also importantly to kind of abundance, to the material aspects and to the way that you're valuing yourself. And even if this eclipse energy is bringing about some profound endings and closure for you, sometimes that can just be so you can start on a different footing or start in a better place. But for others, it may be like the sense of permanence and something coming to an end. But remember, eclipses also bring about these powerful, new, exciting opportunities and epiphanies, things that we'd never considered or thought about or even kind of imagined were possible for us. And so there's this lovely kind of fated quality that feels like it's following you through the course of June as you continue to shed more and more of like old energy. And I suppose release maybe these ideas of what could have been, what might have been, what you hoped would have been. And in the process of that, what you're doing is you're starting to eliminate this kind of craving quality that might have permeated your experience in different aspects of your life, whether that be in relationships, in your career or work, your health, like regardless of where it was showing up. What we're being given the opportunity to do in this month with all of these powerful energy shifts, Cancer, is to really start this craving and to start living. It's like, okay, what have I got here and now? What's working for me? What's working with me? Where do I want to invest myself? And anything or anyone that's kind of limiting, restricting, holding back from you doesn't really have a place, or certainly not right now. Now, of course, as we move through June, we're going to start to come deeper into retrograde season. We've already got Mercury retrograde in the sign of Gemini, and of course, it's always an invitation for introspection, right? Perhaps for the things that have been wildly holding you back. Now, the Chariot moving forward into the energy of the Ten of Cups. So what's kind of interesting with this depiction of the Chariot is that she's on a snail, right? And typically we have this idea that the snail is kind of slow. But of course, what we're looking at here is that regardless of the progress, whether it's an inch forward, whether it's 1%, it doesn't matter to the degree which you see the change. As long as you see the change in yourself, in your life, then this idea of June kind of really opening up powerfully for you, this sense of hope and optimism and alignment with success and kind of some of the things that you're hoping for is going to be able to be really realized for you. Now, the Chariot, as she powers towards this Ten of Cups, indicates to me that you are putting your emotional well-being and what your heart is asking of you front and center stage by way of prioritization this month. And that, for some might be in a specific key relationship. Of course, she's here sort of submerged in the water with another individual here, the rainbow arcing right over them. But there's something also about kind of the submerging of emotions here. So there's a lot kind of under the surface. There's a lot that's kind of not really being spoken and said and discussed openly yet. But of course, that eclipse energy can come in and kind of it can shatter our illusions, but it can also open things up so that we can start to have much more meaningful dialogue about how we move forward in certain aspects. For others, it might be that heart space is really calling you in a specific direction that's saying, what do I need to release and stop craving so that I can actually figure out who I am, what I want, and stop kind of having this kind of reactionary response to life right now. Now, remember, the Gemini Sagittarius eclipse was about this narrative playing out between our higher and our lower mind, between our ego self and our higher divine consciousness. And so what you are going through right now, what you are experiencing, Cancer, is perhaps at times an uncomfortable realization in different aspects of, what makes up your life right now, of where you have held yourself back, where you are sitting in pockets of energy that are almost like self-harming, where you are not allowing yourself the expansion and the growth that's being asked of you. Now, we move forward from that eclipse directly into the second of these squares between Saturn and Uranus on the 14th of the month. The first one happened on February 17th this year, and the final one's going to be the 24th. Now, not an easy energy to work with, I'll give you that. However, the provocation of that square fundamentally is trying to shift something within the self so that you allow a liberation and a sense of freedom to be acknowledged, but it also comes by way of wisdom and experience. That's the kind of blend of the Saturnian and Uranian energy for you, right? And of course, Saturn in Aquarius coming into that energy of really wanting you to think more carefully about deeper personal transformation of the self and where you've merged and lost yourself in different situations. And now it's kind of time to come back home, time to come back home to you. Now, Jupiter's going to be moving retrograde in Pisces on the 20th, just the same day as the Sun moves into Cancer. We have got the energy of the Three of Cups coming forth here. And so it's interesting that they're kind of caught in this... They're kind of holding this loop, this circle around them. So kind of they're bonded here, right? There's a bonding quality. But for me, they kind of look slightly uncomfortable. And so I think that there's something about this Jupiterian energy going retrograde in Pisces that's kind of making you reflect on what feels like uncomfortable and where I've aligned, who I've aligned with. Because remember, Jupiter's the planet of expansion, of growth, of opportunity, of luck and synchronicity. And maybe some of the things that are holding you back from achieving the emotional contentment, satisfaction, and nourishing life giving kind of sustainable experiences is who and what you are kind of trying to shoehorn or fit yourself into. And so it may be that kind of from a soul family perspective, from a friendship, people that you're working with, you're just starting to identify more and more like this isn't really working for me, or this relationship isn't really progressive and growth filled. It's actually making me crave or question myself or doubt myself, or I'm taking on the expression or this sort of energy imprint of what somebody else thinks I am, and I'm not that person anymore. And as you're in that 12th house of Gemini energy around the release, it's really important that you let that skin be shed for yourself, so that as you step into your returns, your solar returns, you're ready to kind of harness that energy of the sun beautifully, radiantly, brilliantly. Yeah. So I feel that there's going to be an interesting review and life edit that's going to take place for you through the month, and perhaps seeing some closure around important relationships. And we can feel that sense of trying to fit in, and not really understand or appreciate the way it has drained our energy. Okay, now we have, at the same time that the sun moves into Cancer, just after it, this solstice energy. So if you're in the northern hemisphere, that's the summer solstice, longest day of the year when the sun stands still, and a beautiful opportunity to rebalance something. In the southern hemisphere, of course, the winter solstice, and that deep reflection, which comes in at the same time as Venus trining Neptune. Now Neptune is in Pisces, Venus is in your sign, so there's like this absolute kind of plethora of energy in this emotive, sensitive, tender, loving signs that want you to return home, want you to rebalance something within your emotional self. And I think it's something very healing, very cathartic around that time. There might be some deep releases, but also acknowledgement that's coming to the surface for you, that's going to help you to kind of I suppose let go of things that you've maybe stubbornly held on to for a really long time. And this is where you get to step into your own greatness, and you start to realize that fairy tale can be achieved by what you are going to do by yourself, for yourself. 10 of Pentacles, your wealth, your inner wealth being recognized as a direct result from the shifts and changes that are taking place within your thought forms, your higher and your lower mind, what you're clearing out of your life, and what you're ready to step into. Now this energy of this wise individual sitting atop the tree, indicating the cyclical aspect of some of these energy patterns that have taken place. There might be some deep family karma that's really coming to the surface for you as well this month, Cancer. And if it's not in your blood family, you might just recognize it within part of your soul family. And I think there's definitely this sense with both of these 10 energies coming through of something coming to this point of fruition and culmination for you. Now 10 of Cups, 10 of Pentacles is a beautiful combination by way of achievement, peak experiences coming in that hit both emotionally and financially. Now Venus, remember, ruling our value, ruling that relationship that we have monetarily, financially, is also a fantastic indicator that actually what the eclipse can do, even if it brings in sweeping change and it feels like it kind of delivers a couple of body blows on the way, it can also powerfully open up things that are maybe been waiting in the wings for a long time for us, but this is about you putting in place a really powerful, receptive, emotional foundation and energetic state that says, I allow this in because I know who I am. The world isn't going to tell me, and I'm no more blindly moving forward in someone else's timeline and someone else's directive. This is me choosing me. This is me deciding what's going to be right for me, and I take it, I claim it, I own it. Like, your time is now, and this is the rewriting of things that is going to help you to manage more effectively the reactionary responses, especially from family, in terms of what you want, where you're taking your life and why you're doing it, you know, releasing the craving and allowing that sense of freedom to start to come in. Now Mercury's going to move direct on the 22nd. Of course, we'll still be in shadow for a couple of weeks after that, but that will help to reopen channels of communication and take a lot of that introspective energy and deliver it in a much more powerful way. That happens just ahead of the full moon in Capricorn, which of course is your 7th house of relationships. So what we're also looking at here is you coming from a much firmer, more grounded, more assertive place of gravitas to say, this is what I want, this is what I need moving forward, and being really unapologetic in that. You've got all of the energies working in your favor around this time. And remember, solstice is saying we have to balance something up here. It's an important time to just reflect on what the last 6 months has delivered for you as well, as we reach that midpoint of the year, and you kind of tune back into some of the themes that have been playing out through 2021 for you. And part of that's going to be where this cage has kind of held you back. Now it's interesting, right? Because you've got your angel wings, you know, you've already got your wings and you know how to fly. So there's like an aching kind of awareness, I think, that's emerging through June, of where perhaps there's been a little bit of sabotage or self-harm, emotionally, spiritually, energetically, if you like, that has stopped you from truly stepping forth into the path that is, you know, revealing itself more and more and more to you. You know, the cage door is open, but you're not looking in that direction yet. And so I think you will hit these moments through the course of the month where you're feeling a little bit more restricted than you would like to be. And remember, we do have Saturn in retrograde, obviously Jupiter moving retrograde, and then Neptune turns retrograde on the 25th. And sometimes Neptune especially, it can kind of rip those like rose-coloured glasses away from us, and it can kind of give us a little bit of a truth talk and saying, listen, here's where we were really living in la-la land about what we thought could and might happen in this instance. And so the immediate reactionary response from you could be to kind of curl up and sort of pull back and retract your energy. And of course, retrograde invites us to do that, but not from a place of shame or judgment or criticism or fear. You know, you have to reframe that and think, what do we learn from this 8 of Swords energy? We learn that we're putting ourselves in this position for a reason, because there's something from a growth perspective that innately we need to understand about what we're doing that's really damaging. It's really damaging us by way of a pattern. And we have the opportunity to break free from that, to clear something karmically. Again, this is what eclipse energies do. You know, you understood that from what we worked with the Capricorn Cancerian energies in the last couple of years. So you've learned so much. This is the application of that learning, the actualization, the embodiment. You have to go there. You have to give yourself permission to say, I cannot respond in that way. I can't act that way. I can't live that way. I can't express myself that way anymore. It's not going to work for me. And I think it's in that moment where you realize that, you know, you have the opportunity to create this wealth of emotional happiness, of financial abundance, of, you know, health and vitality around you. But it does require you extricating yourself from all of the things that slowly bleed you out. What's bleeding you out? What's got a IV drip hooked into you, Cancer, that day by day is just siphoning off that energy? You are moving forward, as uncomfortable as it may feel at times, as almost uncertain, I think, in terms of, am I doing it right? Is this the right approach? Is this what I'm supposed to do? Is this how it's supposed to feel? I think there's going to be a little bit of confusion on that front for you over the next few weeks, but that's okay. Now, Mars is moving into the sign of Leo, coming out of your sign on the 11th. Mars in Leo activates a little bit of fire within us, and it gives us some heart, doesn't it? It gives us the bravery and the courage to just say, okay, I know what it's going to take. And here we go. We have strength. We have the energy of Leo coming forth here. I know what it's going to take. I know it might not be easy. I know it might not be easy. But what's the alternative? The alternative is to sit in that space of ego, or to be dictated to as to this is who you are, this is your life, this is your options. Well, I'm sorry, but that's not good enough, because Cancer steps forth and says, actually, no, things need to be on my terms moving forward. So I'm digging deep. I'm finding what it's going to take to overcome this block within me, around me. And I'm going to make the change. I'm going to allow that transformative energy to fully settle in to this path that I'm finding myself in right now. And I'm going to take the rest of the energy of 2021. I'm going to make it work for me. And I know that I'm going to keep coming up against moments that challenge me. But ultimately, I'm reaching this beautiful point of awareness and things coming together in such a powerful new way. I owe it to myself. I owe it to myself to take this and seize it and live my life now in this present moment. The releasing of what could have been is going to open up an entire new world for you as you recognize what is and what's coming. So the strength and the heart of that Mars in Leo, really important. Now, maybe it's a Leo sign that we're dealing with by way of some of the experiences that we're going through, some of that challenge right now. Again, if that is the case, just make sure what you're feeding energetically is serving you, and you're not just continuously filling up someone else's reserves of energy. Seven of Pentacles, I love coming in for you because it's a serious assessment. She looks, she's got this level of deep contemplation here. I'm taking this seriously. I'm taking my life seriously right now. So what your focus is on, whether it's your material happiness, your experiences, your relationships right now, what makes you happy, what nourishes and gives you that sense of emotional contentment, what you're trying to aspire to by way of your work and career, there is a serious dedication that says, what's it going to take? What's it going to take? What do I need to do this month to progress myself and move it forward? I'm going to make a plan. I've already invested so much and I'm waiting to see the return of that. But instead of sitting back idly and just saying, well, where is it? It's not shown up yet. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep knocking. I'm going to keep pursuing. I'm going to keep going after the love that I want, the job that I'm desiring most, the success that I know I'm worthy of, the health that's available to me. You're going to put the work in, but you need to make this assessment and have this deep, serious review with yourself about what is going on in your life. And it's going to take you further than you have felt the experiences of change for some time. That Chariot energy is saying, hold on to your hats. Let's get going. It might feel like a bit of a slow start, but once you get into the rhythm of it, you're going to see results really, really quickly. There is a lot set to come to fruition for you. Look at all of these 10s coming in, Cancer. So make sure that you can see what's happening. This is what I mean by kind of almost if you're not careful and you're looking in the wrong direction, you're going to miss what's coming into blossom at the moment, or you're going to see it, but you're just not going to be able to really own it. It will kind of land for you and you'll be like, yeah, it's okay, but I still I've not got this, or this hasn't shown up yet. We have to work and harvest the energy of what is moving and flowing. That's going to bring so much more your way. If you're finding that people are not happy or getting on board with what you are working towards or what you're achieving, or they're trying to sabotage your efforts, I think it's going to be a really clear indication of stronger boundaries that you're also going to be creating for yourself, And again, that might require you finding a voice that feels kind of difficult to consistently hold. It's like you might have the ability to have the first conversation, but then following it through repeatedly is what's going to get you stuck. But I think there's also a breakthrough that comes by way of that's going to be very illuminating for you about how some of these relationships have been able to dominate your life, or experiences have kind of really taken hold. And that's what's going to really set us free. You've already got your wings here. You're ready to fly in some aspect of your life. So what we're really going to be doing through the course of this month is figuring out what it's going to take to get you using them. To get you using them. Now, these figures have their back turned right now. So I also want to say to you, like, don't be tricked into feeling like what someone is presenting by way of like, I'm so happy, or this is so great, or this is so wonderful, is actually the case, because we can't really see what's going on in their emotional state. Their eyes are the window to the soul, and we can't see them yet, I think that's also a reminder that, just spending too much time invested in what someone else is thinking or doing, or kind of to the detriment of just getting on and investing energy in your path. We need to kind of remember that through the course of this month. This is your time to shine. It's your solar returns energy coming through the end of this month through July, and we want to take advantage of that. Queen of Wands, she's holding on to this beautiful sunflower. And with it, there's such growth here, Cancer. There's this ability to say, I am deserving of this. There's an explosion of creativity and ideas. There's lots of interest. Look at all these bees that are kind of swarming around, looking for the honey, the sweetness, the nectar that you're offering here. You're being put in a really magnetic place. So it's important that as we work to that, realization, so whether it's that you are attracting a lot of people by way of, on an emotional level, or in the work that you do, or just in the community and what you're kind of focused upon, that there is a protective quality of just making sure that you're not giving all those gifts away, and you're actually allowing growth and abundance to flow directly towards you and lifting you. Beautiful sense of loyalty coming through here as well. So I do feel that what you are attracting has a sense and a degree of it's not like it's permanent, but there's definitely like a longevity to it, which I really like. So things that feel good to you when you're working in your energy, when you're thriving and you're feeling like this is where I'm supposed to be, this is what I'm doing and it's working. There's a nice aspect to this feeling like it's going to stick around for a while. So keep that in mind, especially if you've got some goals in terms of like improving, health, well-being, vitality, money, like any aspect of this. We've got this nice kind of supportive vibe that comes through. Now, of course, there's a unexpected aspect to these eclipse energies that can come in and like feel super intense, and I have a feeling that a lot of the experiences of this round of eclipse will feel quite early for many of you, and so you're perhaps already dealing with that and kind of trying to mop up the kind of chaos or the carnage that it's sort of left. But again, the Queen of Wands kind of almost like holding the space, holding the energy of some of that stress, or where you're feeling the anxiety kind of swirling a little bit, is really positive for me. She's literally charging you and bringing all of the growth to say, hey, look, this is what's possible. This is where we're at. Don't get caught up in thinking what we've lost. Let's think about what we're gaining. Really important. So gorgeous manifesting quality coming in by that Queen of Wands to also support you bringing some things through to the point of realization. So we've got the King of Cups energy here, and I think it's for me, in the depiction of this, allowing things to just kind of pass through you, not allowing energy to stop you in your tracks. There's too much wisdom and knowledge and understanding here. You're holding this ship because you know where you're going. You are the captain of your own ship in this instance. Now, King of Cups is water energy, and I do think that the flow that comes in, particularly as we come into that period between the 20th and the 22nd, with the sun in your sign and solstice and this beautiful Venus and Neptune trine happening, you are being given this opportunity to take back control, but it be from this beautiful divine kind of consciously like evolved outlook on something. It's very spiritual in its awareness. You've got all the feelers out here as well. We've kind of got all the tendrils coming from her kind of headpiece here. And it's like you're observing all of the energy around you, but you're not letting any of it stop you. Again, you've got all the birds flying around you, lots of messages and communication coming to you, both spiritually but also in the physical. that's going to help you to charter a specific course. So you may be maybe making decisions about what to change or edit in relation to like a particular direction or how you're going to do something. So pay close attention to kind of what's showing up in that aspect, okay? There's a deeply emotive quality to this King of Cups that's coming through. And as we, sit the energy of this beneath strength in the Three of Cups, as you have to make decisions and choices about what to let pass through, what to let go, what to kind of allow to move on. And this ship, is it coming in the same direction as you? It may be, but it's kind of on a different trajectory a little bit, you're kind of separate from it. And so there's something about that admission, people are where they are right now, and it's like it's just the allowance of that and the kind of calling back the energy into the self to let that progress happen. Now you're also kind of looking in different directions here when we have the Queen and the King of Cups. However, the Queen of Wands almost looks like she's about to turn around just to kind of check on the progress of something. So you may find that even though you're moving forward, there's a awareness of like not leaving someone behind or just wanting to make sure they're okay, or it might happen vice versa. But there's still, I think, two important distinct paths that are kind of formulating through the course of this month that doesn't pull you apart, although for some of you that might be the experience, but I think it does give you time and space to kind of get clear and focused and to start to build on some of the things that are really, really important for you. Like we said, you are rewriting your own rules. This is a time for you to experience your own version of your own fairy tale, and that's not going to be the same as someone else's, but it doesn't mean that you don't get to have it or experience it. So let's take a look and see how this oracle card might be just reflecting on what has come out so far. Heart, home, compassion. Okay, I mean, everything that is surfacing for you this month, I think is reminding you, that when the heart shatters, which it does frequently, and you might be feeling that exceptionally acutely this month in some aspect, it then expands so much more beautifully, and its capacity to love more, to receive more, to feel more, is taken to another level. And so in the moment of feeling the shatter, where we kind of feel like all hope is lost, or everything has gone, or we have been changed, or that pain will never move, or that heart will never open again in some way, this is a reminder that actually what's coming from this is an expansion and a growth and a sense of beautiful divine love, kind of like healing it on such a level that it's opening you up to an even more sensitive understanding energetically to what more there is by way of abundance to you, abundance of love, of anything that it is that you are seeking in your life, But what are you needing to call home to your heart? What has been abandoned by the self? I think there's a really interesting conversation that you're having here when you're asking yourself what's being asked of you and what you're asking of yourself, that's going to directly impact on your experience of how compassionate you can be with yourself, with others, and with where you are in your journey right now. Okay, these are astrology cards. Let's take a look. Fourth house, of course, you rule this. Cultural and family roots, home, peace and comfort. I mean, we talked about some of the family karma that might be surfacing right now. And remember, Sagittarius, Gemini, it's all about the way we think. The way we think is being challenged and provoked to a point of change and transmutation and transformation, liberation. And so something that's deep within the confines of your comfort zones, of the family dynamic, your soul family, your roots, the spaces with which you reside, is being pushed to the point of profound progression and change because of these eclipse energies. What do you do to seek comfort for yourself? And is that healthy? and what do we need to change so that it becomes more of a healthy nourishment of the soul and not a toxic tendency that just gets you from A to B and keeps you going, but isn't built on any strong foundation. It's just something that you use to paper over the cracks. So you are building this beautiful new nest for yourself, and from that can come the emotional stability, the abundance that you're seeking. But there's some difficult questions that you're going to be asking yourself that might feel somewhat uncomfortable through the month. But remember, the guide is your chariot, victory at all odds, yeah? Success is yours. This is happening. You are moving forward in your life, and as long as you allow that forward progression through this month, your experiences are going to be wholly life transformative, I feel. So Cancer, this is a general reading for the month of June. I hope you take some value from it. If you want to join me for the extended, we talk for another 20 minutes or so. We'll go into a little bit more detail. And I would invite you to just think about a question that I might not have answered in the main spread, and we'll just pull you a couple of cards just now to answer that specifically in the extended. You can find the link in the description and the comment section underneath the video. I really appreciate those of you that join me. It's just a way to help support the work that I do in the channel. So let's just look at the chariot coming up. Okay, bringing in more water energy with the Page of Cups. And another Queen of Wands coming through here. More tens on their way for you. This time the Ten of Wands. Interesting. We also have the Devil coming up. Knight of Wands. Links, of course, to Sagittarius energy, but there's a lot of fire coming through for you this month as well. So some pretty heated, passionate, intense situations. Be prepared for, of course, during eclipse season. Five of Cups with that Three of Cups. You see, I definitely feel that situation is very restrictive in whatever it's bringing up. But again, the Chariot, breaking free from it. Beautiful. Ooh, Ten of Pentacles and the Ten of Pentacles. And another Seven. Interesting, Cancer. When we try to bring change into our life, people always resist that change because they want us to stay where we are, because it helps them to stay comfortable in their own path, you know? It's time for you to strike out now, though. So we have the Queen of Pentacles and the Two of Cups coming in here. I see some really positive kind of business or professional alignments coming through there with a Three. Beautiful. And the Magician. Nice. You are going to be sparkling later this month. Make sure you take advantage of that in anything that you're trying to achieve by way of professionally for yourself. Okay, the Knight of Swords and the Knight of Cups. Totally different directions here. Okay, very masterful, focused energy coming through from the Eight of Pentacles and the Queen of Swords there. So we have the Four of Swords with that beautiful rest energy and the Four of Pentacles as well. Okay, Cancer, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you've enjoyed, please do drop me a like and a comment. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and I'll see you on the extended if you're coming. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful solar returns if you're June born.